everybody, my name is Amazon Rex, and welcome back to another episode of the Survive series here on the Astraea SMP server. In the last episode, we built this fun little iron mive cave scene down here, complete with these armor stand guys hard at work, mining the iron. We've got a few archaeologists up here trying to dig up some mysteries of the past, some piles of iron kind of scattered around, and some responsibly placed TNT. We also built this tunnel out down here leading over to this bioluminescent cave kind of here at the end. I still love this place. It makes me smile every time I come down here. Between episodes, I played around with the lighting a little bit here and there. The initial thought was to make it kind of a super dark area since, it's a cave, but then I thought it was too hard to see the details, so I went through and added more lighting like you saw at the end of the previous episode. But at that point, I still wasn't, 100% happy with it, so I came back down here between episodes, and now I think we've got a nice little happy medium here in terms of lighting. It's still dark enough to be considered kind of cavey, while not too dark that some of the details have been hidden. I also went through and did a little tidying on this side of the Oasis because this is where we will be building today. In the last episode, I mentioned wanting to build both an apiary and a traveling caravan plus an open air market type of thing out here. And, half of that is true. I've been trying to design the carts for this market. I've got 5 out of 6 designs done, and I have no idea what I want to do for the last one. So, instead of trying to creatively bash my head against the wall, I'm going to work on something else. And I had this really fun idea for another scene out here in the desert, maybe here on the southern end of the Oasis. And we're going to need a big hole in the ground for this. And I think this one over here will actually do really nicely. But before we get into that, like I said, I want to tackle the apiary, which we're going to be building over here-ish. And I briefly mentioned in the last episode that desert apiaries do exist in real life. They just, need some extra shade and care in order to keep the bees happy. And I think that's what we're going to do here. We're going to build this apiary here in a small grove of ironwood trees to help cool the area off. And this will be a functional farm. It will be a fairly large build. We've got the bee house exterior, the redstone collection system, and the grove of trees surrounding the area. So with that, I'm going to jump into a time lapse and get started on that because it is going to be a lot of work. Let's do it. Shady trees, happy bees, I am pleased. We've got ourselves a honeycomb farm, and I am proud to say that this is my first redstone design that I did by myself. Minus the well-known components like the etho hopper clock. But everything else in here is something that I made without looking up a specific tutorial. Is it the fastest honeycomb farm? No. Is it the most efficient? Not by any means. Is it going to get me, 3,000 stacks of honeycomb in 5 seconds? No, not by a long shot. But it'll give me the honeycomb that I need, and, it looks really cute. So before we get into that, let's go ahead and start over here by the village. I realized after building this entire thing that we don't have a path leading out into the desert this way, so I went ahead and did a little rearranging and added some stairs coming down from the cliff. I should also mention that I placed some of these new bushes in various spots around the granite layer of the cliff. I know that they're that weird pea soup color that all other plants take on in the desert biome, but, I think they add a little something something. Leading down to what I have been calling the bee house, you'll see some fences here helping to kind of lead somebody walking down the path to their destination. We've got quite a few of the new decorative blocks out here as well, with the cactus flowers, some of the wildflowers kind of growing here at the base of these trees, and of course one of my new favorite blocks, the desert grass. Seeing as how I decided to build in the desert, I might be a little biased though. Swinging around here to the front of the bee house, you'll see we have these 3 different modules, each containing 5 different beehives. These beehives each have a dispenser pointed at them, which will, on a high clock pulse, use the shears on the hives. If the hive is full of honey, the honeycomb will be harvested from the hive onto the mud, or at least most of the time. And down below the mud, we have a minecart collection system. I did place a few hoppers on the side of the rails back there to collect any honey that might fall between the 3 modules above. And I mean, this works well for the most part. There are some instances where the honeycomb kind of flies above the fence while it's being harvested from the beehives. Plus, the bees will sometimes get stuck on either the fence out here or try to pass through the trapdoors on the sides of the hive. But, that's not user error. That's just good old Minecraft mob pathing at work. And if we head inside the bee house, no interior, or at least not yet. The plan here is to make kind of a small factory or workshop, if you will, where the honeycomb will be processed. Kind of think of it as if it were like a small local operation just starting out and processing honey in their garage or something. Nothing too grand of scale, but it'll get the job done. And if we head onto the roof, we have yet another patio. And I know I've said this about every single building that I've built, but I do really like the view up here looking onto the Oasis. So much so that I went ahead and built a small little patio set so people can sit under the shade and enjoy the view. Don't touch the tables though, otherwise you'll break the chairs. But yeah, this little building is really cute. Let's see. There we go. I do love the small grove of trees that surrounds it. The trapdoors on the side of the hives add a fun little pop of color, which is actually something I want to try to add to most of the builds out here in the desert section of the Oasis. The sand is bland. You understand why am I so rhymey today? But the sand is boring, and it's actually kind of nice. It's essentially a blank canvas that we could put some fun colors on. I don't have to worry about, will it look good with the terracotta or the granite or any of that. The desert out here is our oyster. And other things I never thought I would say today. I forgot that I set the bony ponies free. Pleasant surprise. Hi, buddy. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into today's build break. There are some fun moments from a bunch of other server members raiding the Oasis, some shopping district updates, and a good old-fashioned lore dump. Let's get started. After finishing the bioluminescent pond build, I put a message in the game chat about how happy I was with the results. Some people took this as a cue to come check it out, which then led to everyone who was online at the time to come gather at the Oasis for some reason.
Where do you want the cake?
Let's celebrate in the cave. Do.
Oh. Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
I respect the choice to do this with
the TNT
armor stands.
Yes, absolutely.
I respect the choice.
I am very self-aware. I will be just swinging my sword willy-nilly.
Oh yeah, I absolutely would have an accident at some point.
Right, but I have this little scene here of Randy and Cheems kind of busting through this wall down here. And that leads to this cave I've been working on.
No, this is sick.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out in the firefly bushes. Like a chef's kiss right there.
Who is this? Hold on, who's missing? Okay, this is cold.
Oh.
No, I'm pretty sure that's Birdie. I've seen them.
What would happen if I just punched you right now? How? Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, thank you for putting it on a proper surface. I need to jump around.
Cake.
Cake.
Oh, he doesn't have voice chat, so he thinks we're just doing some ritual.
Just dancing around the cake.
Sacrifice.
Arya's breaking through your mountain.
Wait, are you...
When did she bring her horse?
I always had it.
Thank you.
This is a magical place.
I wonder where she put that graffiti.
Oh, it's a compliment. Okay.
I don't know how to spell graffiti. After checking stock at the Prismarine and Moss shops, I decided to do a quick tour of some of the new shops in the shopping district, including a super cool floating library I had read about on the Astraea Discord server. Let's see if we have made any sales. Nope. Nope. Cool. Did we make any moss sales? No. I'm not surprised. Let's see what's new since last we shopped. Oh. Yes. I love a build where the thing has been torn out of the ground and it is above the spot. Ow. I love the use of the stalactites here. I like how mysterious this looks. Looks like they used some pale moss. But did they buy it from me? Who knows? I love a floating island with a waterfall feature. Okay, okay. This is the server public library. So from what I understand, people on the server will write the lore of their bases and put it in here. I'm not going to read those on video. I mean, like, if people want me to, I certainly can. Maybe I can cover a base per build brick or something, but I'm just here today to check out this build. Let's check this out. Please submit your base lore to the reception desk. Sign it. Okay. World history, ABC author names. This is such a cute little build, too. This is a whole thing. I didn't realize how large this library is. What's going on here? Library that flew. They were not made of feathers, but of wind and words. This. I love this. I would love to read all of this, but I'm not going to do it in the video. I'm going to do this on my own time. You can pause the video if you want to read it. Hold on, let me be a good citizen. There we go. I'm going to head down here. Bulletin board, leave your want ads here under the stairs from man to see and enter chess fiction. This wall, comedy and memes A through Z. Mine's for dummies. How to write book. I think I might need that one. This is 22 pages of how to write a book. Who did this? I'm not reading all of that, but I appreciate the effort. Oh, what a fun little area. This is great. Yeah, I definitely have the lore for my book ready to go, and I'll probably include it after this segment. Sorry, future Sam. There's more. There's more. What's up here? Am I allowed to be up here? What a cool concept. You know, they've mentioned this in the Discord chat here and there and reaching out for people's base lores, and this is fun. This is such a cool little place. I can't jump over a fence. What was I thinking there? Yeah, what an excellent little place. I'm so sad that it's raining right now. I know that Creative Villages, I think Ash and I think Rozzy has been working on this as well. I'm guessing Ulch Dog has had his hand in this, or at least writing some of the books, but y'all, fantastic build. What a cool little concept. I'm in. I will be writing my base lore shortly. Other new shops include Rubix's Armory, Devin's Enchanting, Tower of Enchanting, Glow and Sky Fashion by Aria, Bloom and Buds Garden Center by Creative Villages, and the Splish Splash Dye Store made by Rozzy. I love the floor in here. The shopping district has become a lot larger since we last did one of these shader panoramas. Here's one I took at the end of episode 5, which aired about a month ago, and here it is today. I really enjoy seeing everybody's talents on display here in one place. Plus, it's nice to spend diamonds on 18 stacks of azalea leaves for the desert trees instead of farming for them. I love this place. And finally, thanks to past Sam, who was touring the library, I, present Sam, will be presenting the TLDR lore drop of the Fishbowl Oasis. Let's see if we can do this in under 1 minute. There is no history as to who stumbled across the oasis first. The area was a hub for nomads and wanderers traveling across the desert. Different people from different tribes broke away and decided to settle here, likely after falling in love with the green surrounding the waters. These people, while living in the same place, were all from different kin and never truly interacted with one another. Sometime later, Ripasarane, who would become known as the village founder, unified all the people living in the area into one group called the Ironwood Conglomerate. Small time skip, a new settler was at the top of the cliff and made an offhand comment on the shape of the oasis, saying it looked like a giant fish ready to eat the cliff. After this, the nickname of the area became the Fishbowl Oasis, which then became the official name a few years later. In addition for its main export of iron, the village is also known for its archaeological attractions and the hip new artisanal honey farm. There have also been rumors of, but those rumors are currently unfounded. I don't like this. Wait. I don't like that noise you made. I really like nothing about this situation. Ew. Okay, build break is done and dusted. Let's move on. So, as I mentioned earlier, we will need to dig it down for the next build, and this hole right here is naturally generated, very convenient. I had a lot of fun creating the archaeology type of scenes in the last episode with the cave drawings and the archaeologists studying them, and I think I want to lean more into that story a little bit over here. Got a bunch of blocks, hopefully enough to do what we need to do over here. So let's go ahead and jump into another time lapse. So I don't have a lessons learned for this week, but I did realize that this is the 9th video of the series, and I haven't really done a proper introduction. But instead of doing, a standard type of introduction, I Googled a list of interesting questions and kind of cherry-picked a few of those for fun. Here we go. What is the most ordinary seeming thing that you find fascinating? Well, this is going to sound weird, but I have a bunch of photos on my phone of what is essentially garbage. But it's kind of neat garbage, like a four-headed Hydra figurine or a CD of Gregorian chants discarded in a local park. I have a video of an Optimus Prime toy whose voice button is stuck on and was thrown away in a garbage can at a state park in Hawaii. Weird stuff like that. I find it fascinating to think how these items got to where they are, and, I couldn't tell you why. Let's see. If the seasons never change, which would you like to live in eternally? Early autumn? Can you tell me a joke? Why do the Norwegian ships have barcodes on the side? So they can Scandinavian. What is the coolest project you have ever worked on? Other than these videos, I did an internship where I got to design a printed circuit board that controlled the signals between 2 different sensors on a specific type of aircraft. It had 96 different toggle switches, 161 LEDs, and was 12 inches by 12.5 inches. Here's a quick photo of it. Okay, I think I'm at a good stopping point here. Let us go ahead and hop into free cam because I'm allowed to do that now and I have it installed. And look at this. Look at it. It's a giant bird skull fossil, and I love it. I love it so much. I had a lot of fun designing this in creative, and I am really happy to see it here at the Oasis. I need to come up with a name for him. Right now, it's Big Bird, but I'll try to come up with something in the meantime. But making our way towards the dig site, you'll see that we've got some tents set up here for the archaeologists and paleontologists with a few beds and barrels. I've also installed some equipment around the area, like this wheelbarrow and this sand sifting station, where buckets of sand are dumped onto here and whatever may be hidden is filtered out. The sand sifts out to underneath and gets scooped way off to the side. Over here, we have another archaeologist, Rozzy in this instance, examining a skull they have found. I think the tripwire hooks here read really well as magnifying glass. I've also got this big old book over here, which is actually a player head. Dalton needed some books for his build and some assistance to get them, and he graciously allowed me to, harvest a few of these decorative heads as well. I think they work really well in this situation, but, try not to get too much sand between the pages there, Rozzy, okay? And over here, I really, really like this summer stand, enough that I actually put my head on here, but you will see this person, probably put it in for cam again. You'll see this person over here taking a photo of Big Bird over here with this kind of black and white structure we've got over here. This is called a meter pole. It's basically used to help convey scale in photographs. I'm really happy with how this camera turned out. I think it reads really well. And just a quick stop before we descend into the dig site. You'll see we have some piles of sand, some mud, some deep slate, etc. All kind of hanging out over here. This is stuff from the hole, and I had to go somewhere, right? Not only that, I'm kind of using it as a means to end or surround the build, if you will. If we jump over here, it's the ocean. It's the end of the Oasis. So these piles of junk kind of help keep the scene contained in one area. So heading down to the dig site, you'll see that we've got a couple of other archaeologists digging within these kind of sectioned off portions of the site. And we've got some stuff scattered about, like some bones and some pottery. We've got someone out here digging out around Big Bird. And we've got a couple of other paleontologists kind of just in awe of the size of this large lad here. They're dictating their findings and taking notes. They're going to get so much more funding from the university after finding this bad boy. And you may have noticed that what was once Badlands is, well, it's still technically Badlands, but it's covered in sand. This took such a long time, but the area is looking so much more cohesive now. Plus, you know what? I got to trade away all that red sand for a bunch of different logs. Totally worth it. But, don't look too closely at it for, reasons. But you know, despite the mullet action we've kind of got going on in the back of the build, I am really digging this digsite. I think it's a fun little addition to the build overall, and I'm really enjoying using the armor stance to tell a story around here, and finding all sorts of different block combinations to create things to help tell those stories. And next time, I promise, probably, that we'll do the market. I have most of the wagons designed, each with a theme that pertains to what will be sold at the market. I've got a lot of fun ideas, kind of off-the-wall designs to some of them, and I'm looking forward to seeing them added to the area. I think it will be a lot of fun. But until next episode, I think that will have to do for now. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like what you see, click on that little thumbs up button down below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. As always, if you've gotten this far, take care, have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching. All right, bye-bye. Where am I? Oh, there I am.